Today we're talking about the big, bold German-style beer, the Eisbock.
Andy, what's an Eisbock?
Stay tuned. You're about to find out.
Ooh. Welcome back to 21090 Brewing. I'm Todd, this is Andy, and today we're going to take you on a little journey about a beer that not many people out there are experienced with, an Eisbock. I know I'm not real familiar with it. Andy, what's an Eisbock?
So, just like the IPA has a family full of beers, a double IPA, the hazy IPA, the milkshake IPA, the rye IPA, the Bock-style lager from Germany also has multiple varieties in the Bock family. So there's the Maibock or the Hellesbock, which is the hoppier kind of version. There's the Doppelbock, which is the big old double version of the regular traditional German Bock. There's even a Weizenbock, which is made with wheat instead of barley. And of course there's Sebastian Bock. I remember you. And then there's a very, very rare Eisbock, which has a very special fermentation style, which gives it its very unique and very big characteristics. So we're going to talk a little bit about what makes an Eisbock beer separate from the rest of the Bock family.
So Andy, what are some of the characteristics that go into making an Eisbock?
All right, so a good Eisbock is going to have a few things to stand out. First of all, the appearance is going to be a dark ruby color. You're going to find that the minimum range for ABV on this is about 9% and above, with the highest one clocking in, I think, at 57%, which is just crazy. So you're going to get a real big beer here. When you taste this, you're going to be looking for a very malt-forward beer, little bit of hop presence. You're not going to taste much. You're looking for caramel notes. You're looking for toffee. You're looking for vanilla. The mouthfeel on this should be very full-bodied, and yes, it's going to be sweet, and it's going to have a lot of alcohol, but it shouldn't be the overpowering effect. It should be very balanced, because the way that this is fermented in this fractional freezing, when they take the ice out in the process, and we'll talk a little bit about that, it makes a very concentrated but balanced beer. So it's not easy to do. You don't see it everywhere. It's actually kind of hard to find, and it's kind of neat that we're going to be tasting one today from a local brewery, one of our favorites. So this beer is really like the way you would treat a brandy or a porter, kind of like an aperitif after dinner drink. This is not something that you're going to want to sit down and have a couple in the sitting. It's a big beer, and you really want to enjoy all the characteristics of this very special and unique beer. The big component here is when they freeze this, typically a Doppelbock. By removing the ice in the fermentation process, you're just going to balance everything out and add to that kind of complexity, but without that big alcohol burn.
Yeah, it really brings up the ABV, but you don't get the yeast really straining to bring it up to that, 13%.
Exactly. This is lagered first.
Yep.
And then this is done after this has been sitting, because these things are usually brewed in the spring to be consumed in the fall. So that's kind of the same thing that happened here. It's just you take that finished Doppelbock, you freeze it. Obviously the alcohol is a much lower freezing point, so when the water freezes, you remove that, and then that concentrated beer that's left becomes your Eisbock. It's very cool.
Really amazing technique.
Not a lot of people do this style though, and even fewer do it well, but Heavy Seas, I have a feeling you guys are going to get this right. So Todd, tell us a little bit about this special release
from Heavy Seas. Just came out. This is called Schnee Boot from Heavy Seas Brewing out of Baltimore, Maryland, one of our favorites. They were kind enough to send us a couple bottles here to try and really get into and understand this type of beer. So this is from their Uncharted Waters Series. And all that means is it's special beers that they actually age in some type of wood. And for this Eisbock, they put in bourbon barrels.
Correct.
So I'm not sure there's many Eisbocks that have ever been put in bourbon barrels, but Heavy Seas did it, and we're going to try it. So
that's kind of what they like. It's something unique, something different. So they're taking a style that not too many people know about, and they're modifying that even more by putting this in bourbon barrels. So I can't wait to kind of sink my teeth into this one. Now, this is the biggest beer they've ever done.
Biggest beer, 13%.
13%. So, and extremely limited availability. So if you are in the area, you got to get in there and get your hands on these now. They're available in 4-packs, correct?
Yep.
All right, let's get into the appearance here if we can.
Yeah, so we'll take this big one up here. I don't know if you can see it, but it is, as you said earlier, it's going to be a real sort of Toffee, dark color.
That nice dark ruby color.
Ruby, look at that light coming through there.
You can see through
Hopefully
that.
It's coming through
That's
on
pretty
this.
though, right through there.
Beautiful.
Nice and clear.
Beautiful. Get a nose on it. So it's aged in bourbon barrels, and it's sweet. I smell that sweetness right off the bat. It's not as overpowering with the bourbon as some other offerings that they've had from, but you can tell it's there. Really, really sweet. And I don't know if Eisbocks they're normally sweet to begin with, right?
Yeah, they're definitely not hop forward. They're malty forward beer. You're really going to pick up a lot of that caramel, that toffee, that vanilla, and right off the bat here on this nose, very, very sweet, kind of fruit, kind of dried fruit driven.
Dark fruits, yep.
Yeah. There's Siren Noir that they did, which is an amazing release that they do. Also limited. Beer. We also got some of that bourbon, but more of those vanilla coffee notes too. So they have a knack for getting the balance right without being too overpowering the bourbon. So let's see if they did that when we take a sip of this.
Cheers. Oof. There's a lot going on there.
Right off the bat, when they tell you high alcohol content, but you shouldn't feel that alcohol burn, yeah, you know that you're drinking a big beer, but that
13%
alcohol burn is not there.
No.
This is very, very smooth for 13%. Again, very, very malt forward, very caramelly.
The more it lays on your tongue and sits there, I'm starting to taste some of the wood characteristics. I'm getting toffee notes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big time toffee notes, and that's probably where the sweetness is coming from. Not overpowering with the bourbon. There's not a huge bourbon presence on this, I don't think. It's slightly in there.
Yeah, I think a little bit in the back you can taste some of that bourbon. And I'm wondering how long it was aged in the bourbon too. I don't know how long this actually sat. And I would assume that it hasn't been in there too long, especially knowing that the lagering process took long enough as it is. So this may have happened after it was completed. They kind of let it rest for a while in the bourbon barrels, but the bourbon's not overpowering here at all.
No, it's not, but it lays on your tongue. I think that's where this thing really shines. After you drink it, you get sort of that upfront sweetness, and then it just lingers on the back of your tongue with some of the more complex flavor, the toffee, even the bourbon playing in, that mixing together. Really, you mentioned earlier how well balanced these are and all the flavors come together. That's what I'm getting with this. It's certainly a big beer, so you're not going to chug this. This is a winter warmer, no doubt.
This is definitely a nice holiday beer, and probably good because you probably won't be able to find this after the holidays.
No.
But I think this is really good. Don't have a lot of experience with Eisbock, but this makes me want to go out and try another style Eisbock that I can find, because if it's anything like this, I'd be happy to drink it.
No doubt about it. So if you've ever had an Eisbock, comment below. Let us know which ones are out there that you really like. If you've had Schnee Boot from Heavy Seas, also let us know what you think. And maybe if you want to get some of these, either head locally where they're distributed, or give us an email. We can get this to you. Let's do a trade.
So maybe you have some crazy Eisbock out there somewhere that we haven't tried yet. We'd love to do a review, and I'm sure they would love you to review this beer too, because this is great.
Another fantastic offering from Heavy Seas.
As always, Heavy Seas is one of the most impressive in Maryland, and there's a reason why they've been around as long as they have. They're good stuff.
Yep.
So again, if you like what you see from 21090, please hit that subscribe button below. Click that little bell. I'm going to tell you every time there's a new video.
Yeah.
Find us on Twitter. Find us on Instagram. We've got all kinds of good stuff, including our new Cellar series that we just released, and our State series that's coming up. So lots of stuff coming from 21090. But to Heavy Seas, one of our friends, we thank you for sending us this. This is another great offering from them. Go check out Schnee Boot Eisbock.
Ooh, there you go. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
All right.